So welcome everyone to the 34th episode of My Career, My Identity. Now over to you, Adila.
Parents and greetings from the Department of Languages of Naipunya College. On behalf of my family, I love the roles of fifth semester BA. It's a hearty welcome to all. With strategic communication management with regard to my area, my identity talk series. I acknowledge the presence of other Dr. Benny Party, organized the participation, the ISIS of Hyderabad, and the resource person of the day, Mr. Nitin Jose, specialized in strategic communication at Monash University, expressing well wishes to all the distinguished
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah. We have a welcome, so they will be welcoming you. So now,
Yes, sir. Thank you all. The presence of each and every member in this auspicious virtual gathering is priceless, and your attendance
there is always technical
is a
trouble.
must to be mentioned. Of second semester MA English Literature to deliver the welcome speech.
It is my privilege to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Nitin Jose, who is a known face amongst DHYM as prior to leaving for Australia. He was the president of Delhi DHYM Youth Movement from Noida. As a student of journalism, mass media, and communication, while in college, he enjoyed debating and public speaking. He spearheaded the first organized movement against cyberbullying under the banner of Stop Online Mobs in Delhi. He actively engaged in organizing various social services during national calamities in tie up with local NGOs. His passion for helping students is evident from the various personality development and career focused workshops he organized for students in public schools as well as government schools in Delhi NCR in association with CSR Foundation. We are so honored to have you here, sir, as a guest for today's session. On behalf of the organizers and all the participants, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much for honoring me with such a warm welcome. I highly appreciate Dr. Father Benny for organizing such an informative platform for all the youth to learn from the experience of each other as well as industry experts. I'm very excited to have this conversation that would be unfolding today.
Okay, Nitin, we have a small presentation in between, so let them just move ahead. Yeah.
Sure.
Father Dr. Benny Palati is an educationist and a well known figure. He has always been working towards empowering the youth, and his initiatives are commendable. He is the backbone of this initiative, My Career, My Identity. Wholeheartedly, we welcome you, Father, to this session. Today, we are also privileged to have the presence of Father Dr. Paul Kaitotingel, Principal of Nargonia Institute of Management and Information Technology, Pungam, who has been instrumental in associating with the organizers for today's program. Welcome you, Father. We have our strong pillars of Nargonia College with us, Ms. Teresa Parikil, Vice Principal of our college, and Ms. Grace K. Benny, HOD of the Postgraduate Department of English. We are grateful for their presence and happy to welcome our Vice Principal and HOD to this program. Last but not the least, my dear friends, the students who are participating in this webinar and the teaching faculty from our college and other members present here. A very warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes. Now I invite Father Dr. Benny Palati, the organizer, Department of Education, Diocese of Faridabad, Delhi, to address you all with the introduction speech. Father, please.
Okay, now can you just stop the screen sharing? Yeah, thank you. So, welcome everyone. Communication leads to community, that is, understanding, intimacy, and mutual valuing. Human interaction is essential for any business. In the world of exchanging values and money, exchange of ideas and products with the use of communication strategies and skills are also very pivotal. And communication is the process of information exchange. Development of strong communication skills improve the quality of the interactions. Communication tries to influence the attitudes and behaviors of the listeners. There we find communication strategies, management, techniques, and skills. Effective business communication matters a lot. The efficiency and productivity advance through effective communication. Communication skill is not only about talk or just soft skills. It's about communicating messages in various technical, functional systems and professional manner. We have today very dynamic media platforms, advertisement, companies, political communications, policy communications, image communications, diplomatic communications, marketing and communication, public relations, organizational communication, research and analytical activities, etc. Techniques, tools, medium, challenges, and skills for each of this varies. A recent survey of 400 companies conducted by the Society of Human Resource Management revealed that, on average, each company lost $62.4 million per year due to inadequate communication. Communication skills are crucial for job market. There are different dynamics to it. Marketing communication, language skills, journalistic communications, organizational communications are commonly known ones. 5 W's of communication is very important. Why, what, when, where, and the science of strong business communication and its language are matters of serious concern and research nowadays. Famous business writer and writing coach, Mr. Bill Burchard, has written an article on the same in the latest issue of Harvard Business Review. There are exciting areas for which the youth have to be built specific skills through learning and academic practices. Communication includes listening, persuasion, clarity of ideas, mutual respect, written communication, progressive evaluations, public speaking, cross-cultural communication, digital communication, conflict management, etc. I quote William Butler Yeats. It goes, think like a wise man, but communicate in the language of the people. Collaboration, teamwork, adaptability, marketing, etc. are prompted through the communication skills. Communication management is a developed stream where strategic planning, implementation, and monitoring all the channels of communication within our organization is done. A student who learns language or communication can choose various specializations as per the necessity of the market requirements. The door is wide open. Literature students have great potential to develop their skills of communication for various job options. Reading literature and visualization of stories should lead students to cultivate not just fictional interests, but it should direct them to equip themselves with the techniques and skills prerequisite for the job market. Here comes today's interaction with Mr. Nitin Jose, who is a specialist in strategic communication. He was a frequent face amongst the executive board members of Model United Nations Conference in Delhi, NCR. His ambition is to become an entrepreneur in the arena of strategic communication. Mr. Nitin is from Monash University, Australia. He is helping out students to find linkages among communication, language, and the market with his expertise. Thanks, Nitin. Mother Teresa has said, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless. I unquote. It is truth, and it is the power of communication. Yes, everyone has that power within you. Welcome, everyone. Over to you, Adila.
Thank you, Father. Now we have a presentation by Vandana Martin, student of second semester MA English Literature. Let me invite Vandana for the address.
Good evening to all present here. Today, I'd like to share a few slides on language and communication skills for the current job market. First of all, let me explain what is communication and language. Communication is a process of transferring messages, and language is a tool of communication. Before detailing about communication skills, I would like to give an idea about choosing a good career, and it means finding a career that gives you a high chance of being successful and gaining job satisfaction. In the world of work, one important skill everyone needs is communication skill, and language plays a vital role too. Next, we have developing communication skills. It can help many aspects of your life. Good verbal and written communication skills in the current world of market can help you in the field of media, advertising, publishing, etc. Next, we have in demand by business. Communication skills helps to grow up the business. We have strategic communication. It's use of communication by an organization to fulfill its mission. We do have a variety of professions such as public relations, brand communication, internal communication, and corporate communication. Communication management, it's the act of getting people together. It helps in proper implementation of plans and policies of the management. And organizational communication, it allows organizations such as government agencies and companies to function and grow. Next, we have importance of language and communication skills. In any organization, people use 75% communication each day, and it can be in writing, speaking, listening, and reading patterns. For the youngster, communication skills are as important as the technological qualification. Next, we have the use of language in various fields. Of course, soft skills is considered to be the core of communication skills. And other than that, we do have a lot varieties like advertising, where it often renders an opinion on creative layouts in newspapers, magazine, radio, television, and digital channel. Social medias such as OTT platform, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and publications in magazines, articles, etc. Documentation specialists have to be excellent in oral and written communication skills. So, finally, the question is, do you have a good communication skills? Ask yourself where you could succeed. And the other scopes in language and communication skills are HR manager, strategic communication planner, PR specialist, social service and counselor, media, descriptive researchers, teachers, and so on. Hence, identify your strength and work accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana. Now to the part for which we have all been eagerly waiting for. The very renowned resource person, Mr. Nitin Jose, is here to lead us through a discussion on strategic communication management. To do the honors, let me humbly invite Mr. Nitin Jose, specialized in strategic communication management at Monash University, Australia. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I highly appreciate Dr. Father Benny for organizing such an informative platform for the youth to come together to learn from each other and their experience, as well as from industry experts. I'm very excited to have this conversation unfolding today. And we would be talking about how to discover yourself rather than decorating your CV. And then we'll move on to strategic communication management as a field of career. It's important to identify who you are and what your interests are at an early point in life so that you can plan ahead and find the right resources that would lead you to your goals. To find out what you enjoy and how you enjoy it, there's a lot of observation and parental influence that's involved in the shaping the mind of a child. It's also important to find a balance inside and outside the classroom if you want to build a career in strategic communication management. Holistic learning is what we would focus on in order to develop yourself through curricular as well as co-curricular activities. I really look forward to all the questions that I would love to answer today, and let's hope for a very productive discussion.
Coaching ക്ലാസ്സിലാണ് എന്നിരുന്നാലും അദ്ദേഹം പഠന സംബന്ധമായ എന്തൊരു
Yeah. Now, can we start with our questions, Nitin?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, the participants, you can start with the questions.
Okay, Father. Now we have the question answer section. Feel free to pour in your doubts and questions you have. You could either unmute and communicate to the resource person or utilize the space in the chat box to write down your queries.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hello. I'm Father Anil from first year MA. I'm doing my second sem in my college. Hello.
Right, Acho, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Father, I can hear you.
Okay. So my question is, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Father, I can hear you. So we're moving on to the question.
Yes. So it is very interesting that you choose communication strategy as your field of expertise. How did you identify your potential in this field as a career? Were you aware of your interest and skill sets in this field since school days?
Thank you so much for that question, Father. That's a very that's one of my favorite questions to answer, because to answer that, I would have to take you back to my school days. As a kid, I was always an extrovert, the naughtiest kid in school, who is still loved by his teachers, though, because I was always good in studies. I loved conversations, talking to people, meeting new people, understanding new perspectives, connecting with people gave me happiness. With my parents being from Kerala and highly educated as well, they always paid crucial attention to me, my skill sets, my shortcomings, any point of my behavior that I need to be working on, and educating me to become the better version of me. It was my father's idea to make me undergo a psychometric testing to analyze my personality and my strengths in order to identify my potential for suitable professions so that I could steer my career pathways precisely. I remember when I was in Father Ainul School, Noida, I went on stage for the first time when I was in class 4. I still remember my father coaching me the previous night and preparing me very well. I was completely ready to perform. I was confident before I went onto the stage. But when I stepped on the stage and saw 1,700 of my fellow students in front of me, my legs were shaking like this. But that was my first experience with stage fear. But anyway, I was there. I had to perform, and I did give a good performance. I was pretty appreciated for it. And that's when I realized that I love public speaking. That was the point when I began participating in debates and elocutions and speech competitions. And I also started participating in youth parliaments by the time I was in class 10. And I got invitations to be the executive board of multiple youth parliaments as well. That's what steered me to my love for speaking and communicating with people. But as a high school student, I remember topping up my cell phone for rupees 13 in order to get 25 messages to communicate with my family and friends. Whereas at this point of time, we almost have free internet. So this increasing influence of the internet and how it was shaping the minds, the mindsets, the opinions of people about other people, culture, news, domestic as well as international instances really intrigued me when I was in class 10. And I started exploring my options to undertake a career in the field of mass communication. I used to go through newspapers every day. My father ensured that I read the newspaper at least once in 2 days to keep myself updated. And the crucial role that print media, electronic media, and social media was playing at that point of time is what led me to think that if I can get into the field, I can influence the opinion of the people in a positive way that can help us to work on evils like eradication of poverty, social inclusion, feminism, racism, and sustainability. We can make a very positive impact on the planet as a whole. Passion and unique skills in communication, I decided to choose humanities as my stream of study in class 11. However, before I got into arts, I also had an inclination towards commerce. So I decided to take commerce with IT initially in my grade 11, but I soon realized that accounts and maths is not something that I would be able to cope up with easily. So I explored my options in arts and took up humanities, media in my class 11. It would be the best decision that I ever made in my life because I would like to share with you that in grade 10, I had the CGPA of 6 because the subjects that I was not good at brought down my marks. But when I chose the subject that I am interested in and I'm skilled at in my grade 11 and grade 12, I happened to be the first topper of the first batch of humanities in my school. So the influence of my parents, my own observation about myself, understanding the skill sets that I have, my personality in a wholesome way, and judging the probabilities of my success in the field of mass communication led me to specialize in it and be where I am today.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Can we
Good evening,
have the
sir.
next question?
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I'm John Shaju. I'm a final year BA English aspirant. Sir, my question is, most Indian students face various challenges, but in varying degrees and stages of their schooling and college education. What were the challenges faced by you to identify the right career?
Right. Now, 4 factors First of all, thank you for that question. Mainly, there are four factors that act as the major obstruction before you make a career decision. One is, of course, making the decision. To make the decision, I stepped into journalism. When I passed out of school, when I went for my bachelor's degree, I chose to do journalism and mass communication. Journalism was my major. I thought that journalism is the career that I am meant for and explored that field. I did internships. I was the organizer of the first cyberbullying, the first organized movement towards against cyberbullying in Delhi by the name of #StopOnlineMobs. And that got me connected to a lot of very influential journalists and newspapers in Delhi. And I thought that I am thriving here. I think this is the career that is meant for me. But then I realized that my skill sets and my perspective towards shaping opinions can be further honed if I get involved in public relations and image management instead of journalism. Therefore, I made a switch after my graduation was completed in strategic communication management. And that was the second best decision I ever made. So in order to make your decision, there are a lot of factors that go into the picture, which we would be discussing as we go ahead. So the first and foremost obstruction would be making a decision. Second is managing your self-discipline, because once you are on the career path, there will come multiple obstructions from your own self-doubt. What would people say? Would I be able to meet the financial needs for fulfilling this goal? And multiple other factors that would try to stop you from your goal. But if you stay focused and self-disciplined, that I'm pretty sure that anybody can achieve the goals that they intend to achieve. Third factor would be finding work, because once you step into the field, you got your qualification, you have done your financial planning, you step into the field to find work. It would be very important for you to create a profile that is talking about you as a student since you were in higher secondary or junior school. Because employers these days are looking for a CV that tells them about the holistic aspect of a person. Academics, of course, it's important, but how is the personality of the person? Can the person communicate well? Is the reading skills and writing skills suited for the job? And multiple other factors that make your CV look great. And of course, working on your confidence. Fourth obstruction would be financial literacy, which is a major issue that even I had faced when I first stepped out of home to pursue my master's degree in strategic communication management. Because I think it would be correct to say that our education system prepares the students to be worker bees who specialize in their own professions and are happy to earn a living, making their boss richer while receiving a small portion of what the company makes. The encouragement and information on how to venture into business or how to benefit from taxation was not adequate for me at the time of my transition from India to Australia. If I had started earlier, I'm pretty sure that it would have been great. Therefore, it's very important to familiarize yourself with the taxation process, with how banks work, how to take a loan, how would you manage a loan, how do you negotiate on interest rates, and a lot of other factors that go into the planning of your international education.
Thank you, sir.
Can you have the next question?
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
I'm Rinju
Hi.
Maria Raju, 5th semester BA English student. My question is, that's very intriguing. How did you overcome the challenges mentioned by you and finally choose to achieve master's degree from Monash University, one of the top universities in the world.
Thank you for that question. I was blessed to have a father who was directing one of the largest talent nurturing programs with one of the biggest corporates in Delhi, and was deeply engaged in career testing, career counseling, and mentorship of students at school as well as college level. Under his guidance, I took a psychometric test, which made me realize that each person is unique with their own set of interests and capabilities. It also made me realize that money is not what defines a successful person. It also talks about one's skills, talent, and ability, as well as passion. I also underwent formal counseling and career guidance from a professional careerist who helped me to draw a most suitable career path and an action plan to achieve my goal of becoming a strategic communication professional. The career test and counseling helped me to identify my potential, my strengths, weaknesses, and gave me some directions to choose a path that suited me. I explored various career options and their prospects and compared it to my capabilities and my skill sets, the job availability, the earning potential, the growth potential, and the job satisfaction that I would get out of performing my duties. I wanted my career to be aligned to my personality and my interests so that I would love my job and would be rewarded for it handsomely as well. I took the decision to pursue a career in strategic communication management after a lot of homework. And I'm glad that I did that as well.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Can we have the next question?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm Vandana Martin of second semester MA English. My question is, there are many students who dream of going abroad for higher studies. So how did you get the inspiration to study abroad? And what is your advice to them from your experience? And is it feasible financially for a low-income family to achieve their career dream?
Thank you so much for that question. It all started with me craving for a cutting-edge degree from one of the top 50 universities in the world. I explored through multiple courses and multiple universities within India as well as outside India to find the master's degree that is tailor-made for my needs and what I'm looking for as a career. The degree from Monash offered me a degree that is completely state-of-the-art. In fact, my batch was the first batch to undergo this degree, the first year itself. Therefore, I thought most other communication-based degrees are focusing on journalism and creative writing and that sort of profession, but it was not focusing on public relations per se. But the degree at Monash offered me exactly what I was looking for. And of course, it is a group of 8 university in Australia, which is the top 8 in Australia, and it comes in the top 55 universities. And I was offered a scholarship as well. Therefore, it was an easy choice for me that Monash is where I would be. My advice to my fellow students out there would be to start as early as class 8. You may begin building your profile as early as possible in order to leave space for making mistakes. Sometimes because it saves a lot of time and money if you make an informed decision as your career choice. For example, if you find out that this is a particular career, let's say strategic communication is the career that what you want to be in, you can make that choice by the time you reach grade 10. Because that's when you choose specific subjects that suit your interest, and that would take your career ahead. Therefore, planning much in advance would be very, very beneficial for you. Profile building, like I mentioned earlier, every university is looking for a wholesome student. Academics, of course, would help you, might even get you a scholarship. But university wants students who have been active in co-curricular activities, who have worked on their personality, they have showcased evidence of their capability as a leader and as a person who has high potential to be a known personality in the field that they're coming here to study. Psychometric testing unveils the different aspects of your personality that you may have never pondered upon. I would suggest get one done ASAP because once you start charting out your career pathway, it's absolutely clear for you that that is the goal and these are the steps that you are going to take in order to achieve it. Once you can, because there's a lot of planning involved here. You need to know your steps. You need to get ready with your finances. You need to set your mindset to undertake the biggest project of your life. I would also want to add that parents play a crucial role in identifying and magnifying the positive personality traits of a child. Close attention needs to be paid to their personal growth and ensuring that the insecurities in their child, like lack of confidence or the lack of ability to speak fluently or interact with people is limited. We can certainly work upon it with practice and support. An increase in confidence is something that the child would completely thank the parents for an entire lifetime, like I would do. Last but not the least, I would say never settle for less than what you deserve. We might think that now that we have landed in this particular course or we've taken these particular subjects in our grade 11, now I'm trapped. This is what I would have to do for the rest of my life. I would strongly disagree. It's never too late to change because if you are in the wrong profession, that is a regret for a lifetime. But it might be painful to make a change, even if you made a mistake, but it is a long-term benefit that you're looking at if you choose to be in the career that you love. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Nitin sir, once again, it's me, Johns.
Hi,
Sir,
John.
yeah. So my another question is, do you advise that every student should undergo a psychometric testing, formal career assessment and counseling, along with mentorship to choose the right career?
I would absolutely suggest so, with no doubt about it. I, in fact, congratulate Reverend Father Palati for organizing such a structured career guidance program because I firmly believe that career guidance will help students in so many ways. You get access to expert careers and resources that help you discover your interests, strengths, and opportunities. It helps you to develop your competencies and abilities. It instills the confidence and insight that you would need to enter the world of career. It would make you capable of adapting to changing environments. During the process, you would attain the maturity that is needed to make your own personal, educational, and career decisions. It is very imperative to perform well in school and colleges. And in order to be your best self, you need to know who you are, right? So these competencies and abilities would be highlighted by our psychometric testing, and the career guidance that follows a psychometric testing would help you chart out the clear pathway in your career. And I would also want to add one point to the earlier question that my fellow mate here just asked. In terms of the finances that are involved in your decision to go for international education, financial liability plays a big, major role in choosing where, how, and which destination you would choose for your international education. There are a lot of costs involved that needs to be broken down and understood in order to plan your way ahead. If you there are various tiers of universities. The top universities would be, I would put it as the expensive ones. But there are similar degrees that are offered by universities who rank a bit lower in terms of QS World rankings, however, provides you a similar degree and a cutting edge education as well. If I talk about myself, the university fees would come to about 40 lakhs for 2 years. That is one. Then there are the visa fees and overseas student health cover that needs to be taken for every student who travels across India. That will come to about 7 lakhs. If you talk about the living expenditure that you would be incurring from month to month in order to stay here and work, I would say on the higher end, you would be spending about $1,800 per month for 2 years. That would account to about 24 lakhs in itself. Plus the 2 air tickets to and fro and miscellaneous expenditure, everything. If you just count together, it would amount to, let's say, between 60 to 70 lakh Indian rupees. However, the sum sure sounds high, but there is a solution to the problem, which is financial planning. There are various ways to raise the funds that you can raise for your calculated expenses. One is a student loan. You can take a partial loan and plus a family support in order to achieve your international education. Once you reach your destination, there are multiple options for working part-time and full-time when you're not in university on your holidays to raise the funds that are needed for your living expenditure. And if you are really careful about your income and expenditure, you can, in fact, raise enough money to pay your fees as well. So there are multiple pathways you can use to address the financial hardship. On top of these options, you also have academic and sports scholarships and grants that the university provides, especially during COVID. For example, my university provided a COVID relief support grant to the existing students who were here, who came at the time of COVID and had to go through a lockdown. And it's also providing the same to students who plan to come to Melbourne and study in Monash University. I would surely suggest you should go through the Monash University website to find more information on this. There are also grants available based on your previous degree. For example, since I had a bachelor's degree in mass communication, I had the option to get a grant that would decrease my workload as well as bring down the fees a little bit. There are also scholarships and grants from the government, the Indian government as well as the Australian government that you can apply for, but that are for really high academic as well as co-curricular performers. And an example of an Indian scholarship would be the Foundation for Academic Excellence and Access Scholarships in India. That's 2021. And there is DBT Fellowship. I would suggest you to take a look at both of these scholarships to understand how you can work a plan out to meet the finances.
Thank you, sir.
Who would be asking
So, once again, I'm Vandana Martin.
Hi, Vandana.
Could you please narrate how did you build a reliable and trustworthy personal profile for yourself that contributed to developing a strong statement of purpose for your admission at Monash University?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. Like I mentioned, academic performance was, of course, very important. My grade 10, grade 12, and my undergraduate degree. And like I mentioned earlier, I had 6 GPA in grade 10, and I was the topper in grade 12. So, and a similar percentage in graduation as well. The main aspect that helped me to get the admission at Monash University was the profile that I built outside my classroom. I noticed a trend of internet trolling and memes in India that had taken root in 2015. which gradually grew into a form of organized attacks on women in the form of cyberbullying. The circulation of fake news, rise of mob lynching, and a lot of other social evils were taking place in India at that point of time in 2015. It was at that juncture when I, with my team, launched a national campaign under the banner of #StopOnlineMobs movement that aimed at knitting an online population of students across Delhi to come forward and build awareness for policy advocacy and action by the Delhi police. We organized protest at Jantar Mantar on 30th of July 2017, which was attended by hundreds of students from various student unions and prestigious universities. Our #StopOnlineMobs was ranking fourth on Twitter on that day, and we got a call out by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Mr. Ravish Kumar, the famous news anchor, and a lot of other famous celebrities. Alongside such leadership roles that I took on, I also was interning at multiple companies to get exposure to the field of public relations, journalism, as well as image management. I was an apprentice for Mr. Satish Kumar and Mr. Ahad Umar in 2016, in which I was exposed to the world of lights, camera, and action. Comfort Private Limited was the company that I was working for that was shooting documentaries and films, as well as advertisements for the ministries, various ministries of the government of India and the private sector. So I explored how video production works, how script writing works, and analyzed if this is the career that I would look forward to. And I realized that maybe not. I was not sure. Subsequently, I found an internship with a public relations firm called PR Professionals in Gurgaon, and which is a media firm specialized in corporate image management, corporate communication, and public relations. The experience that I got there and the exposure that I received was tremendous. I was sure that public relations is the field that I am meant for. Therefore, exploring yourself in terms of finding various internships, various opportunities to express your leadership skills, bring people together. If in the field of strategic communication, if you can influence people, is what you need to evidently showcase on your curriculum writing. Then there are some stream-based achievements that I also was able to achieve at that point of time. As I began my undergraduate program in 2018, I received the consignment to work for Mother's Care India, which commissioned me to single-handedly direct and cinematograph their official documentary about their educational interventions for underprivileged girl students who, by no fault of their own, were stuck in poverty in the remote villages of Uttar Pradesh. I was sure that my skill set would do justice to the consignment received. However, can I see myself doing this for the rest of my life? I was not sure about it. So I also started, like I mentioned earlier, about me being active part of debates, speech competitions, and creative writing. I used to volunteer and participate in all public speaking activities that went on around me, like Model United Nations conferences, youth parliaments. I used to be called for chairing committees like the Press Council of India at WIPS MUN 2017. And in terms of my extracurricular achievements, I was a basketball player. I organized the national movement, StopOnlineMobs. In terms of volunteering, it's very important to show that you are making an impact in the society, at least trying to be involved in giving back to the society. For example, in the wake of monsoons in India in 2018, the country witnessed the most devastating floods in Kerala. Quite essential developed state in India, which was striving in prosperity until a few weeks before the natural calamity. I realized that Justice Kurian Joseph and his team of lawyers have brought together a team of youth who are socially minded and support the call for action in order to seek contributions and materials for relief to be provided to the victims of Kerala flood that displaced over 7 lakh people. Ultimately, our team was able to bring together 8 truckloads of relief material that was collected and sent to the relief camps in Chalakudy, Kerala. It was these experiences that empowered me to embark on a mission to mobilize the private sector and local NGOs for their effective intervention in integrated development of the biggest primary school in Uttar Pradesh, comprising of 1,600 students. In this mission, I used digital media, campaigns, and workshops and brought together my team of volunteers who reshaped the entire learning outcome of the economically underprivileged students studying in the school. From experience and from my own observation of my skills, I was able to embark on all of these adventures, which helped me to explore myself and also showcase on my CV how my leadership skills and the ability to bring together like-minded individuals, connect with people to make a social impact is what helped me to shape the statement of purpose to Monash University that told them that I, as a person, have the potential to make a change. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Agnes, student of 2nd MA English. My question is, why did you choose Monash University in Australia compared to all the other universities in different parts of the world which provide a similar degree?
Thank you so much for that question, Agnes. I did my homework and finalized on the top 5 universities in India that I can apply to for a master's degree, and 5, in fact, 8 of the international universities that I could apply to. While prioritizing the degrees that were provided by various service providers, I realized that, first of all, Monash is among the top 55 universities in the world. Secondly, the master's degree in strategic communication management was first of its kind and state of the art. The teaching methodology was completely practical in nature rather than imposing theoretical knowledge completely. And the hands-on approach to the teaching pedagogy really intrigued me. Coming from the Indian educational setup, I was really looking forward to a different style of education and how the quality of teaching, the content, and the student-centric focus and practical application of the knowledge that you learn in your degree to benefit from these learnings. There was strong academic content with contemporary relevance that I found in the units at Monash as well. I was looking forward to understanding the real world issues in communications going on right now and how various scholars in the field of communication suggest that we can bring about a change. And that's exactly what this course was talking about. If once I had finalized that Monash University, University of Melbourne, and one more university that we had finalized on, I started looking into the structural design of the courses that were provided in the top 3. Now, the structural design itself intrigued me to the core because the academic units were divided into 6 parts. First was the foundational study, which were talking mostly about the principles of public relations and a brief history. Then we had the principal study, which was talking completely about history, market practices, data analytics, and managing communications. Third, we had applied study, which talked about internship or research paper. Professional enhancement and leadership professional skills was another unit that we had, and which was exposing the students to industry experts and the opportunity to interact with professionals who can share their experience and guide the students with regard to how that this particular field functions at this point of time, rather than just focusing on the history of it. Then we had research pathways, and I wrote a research paper as well, which gave you the opportunity to investigate and solve real-world problems in the field of strategic communication management. In fact, the thesis that I wrote was on how corporate communication can influence the general population of Australia to have a better inclusive outlook towards the Aboriginal people or the traditional owners of Australia. So all of these factors coming together, I was completely convinced that strategic communication management as a master's degree at Monash completely serves my purpose that I'm looking for. And I zeroed in on it. Does that answer the question?
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Great.
Hi, Nidin sir.
Hi.
Thomas, final year BE student. And my question is, you have done journalism for your bachelor's degree, but now focusing on strategic communication management. Can you please share how did you shape this decision?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this question. Communication was always a subject of my interest. And like I mentioned earlier, I was always exploring my options in this field. I found this field very challenging and exciting because you are never dealing with the same problem every day. It's like Reverend Father Palati had mentioned earlier, there are various streams of communication that you deal with when you are managing communication. For example, there can be crisis communication, there can be advertising, there can be a need for reputation building for a new company. So you're always dealing with new problems. And you have to stay up to date with the market practices and the opportunities that keep arising. For example, till COVID-19 happened in Australia, there was no position for a public relations advisor to the Premier of Victoria, who is like the governor of the state of Victoria. But after COVID-19, this new position got created in the office. This means that now the world is acknowledging the need for public relations professionals, and it is creating new jobs, which is creating a lot more potential for all of us professionals. I also saw that in terms of remuneration, a managerial position for a communications professional in a private company or a multinational company would fetch you a very decent amount of salary. So since I love the work that I do, I am making money for just doing what I love. The amount of career advancement opportunities that have arisen in the past 2 years in the field of communication is tremendous, because the hierarchy of marketing professionals in a particular company, it varies. If you are in communications, you can step into marketing, sales, communication, copywriting. You can get into videography and video production. You can be a radio jockey. You can be a lot of there can be a lot of professions that you can look into. And if you love talking to people, if you love expressing yourself, and have that clarity of thought that you can use to express yourself, I realized that that is what I have, and I chose to change from journalism to the field of strategic communication management. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I'm Smriti, 5th semester BA English student. It was a wonderful session listening to you, sir. And my question is, how does a day at Monash look like? And can you share the classroom practices, nature of projects, and one-to-one academic communication styles of your university, sir?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. When things were normal, as in COVID-19 had not hit and we had complete access to the university, nothing was online, everything was on campus. I usually had classes at morning either 9 a.m. or around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And it's usually about 3 to 4 hours of classes with a break in the middle. The class usually begins with the professor cheerfully walking into class, and it's visible that the professor is excited to teach us. Once he's greeted us all and ensuring that we are settled, he or she would begin introducing the topic that we are going to study on that particular day. Usually, we have a discussion on our takeaways from the presentation that the faculty presents in front of us, and we share how or what we understood from the presentation and how we think we can connect it to practical instances that we might come across on a day-to-day basis. Usually, after class, we are assigned an academic reading to be done before we arrive in class the next day, so that we like different students are provided different readings, right? So once everybody comes together, you don't have to read the same thing that the other person was assigned. You express what you learned from your reading and you have a discussion, and then you learn from the person who read something different in a similar field. So that leads to a super interesting session. That is, I would term it as peer-led learning, because we're learning from our peers, which also give us a major opportunity to interact with the people we study with, and to get to know our classmates, to make friends, to create connections. In fact, that is the reason that I got my first job once I came to Australia, because one of my classmates had asked me if I'm looking for a job, and I did happen to mention at a point of time that I am. As soon as a vacancy opened up at the workplace, he just gave me a call that, listen, there is a vacancy available here. Are you interested? I said, yes, I am. I don't have a job right now. So he helped me to get in immediately. Once you get the first job, the second job just comes in on its own. The nature of projects that we are assigned is mostly either hands-on group projects or individual assignments. I personally thrive in group assignments because what do I love to do? I love connecting with people. There was a project I was assigned individually to find a solution to a major public relations crisis in the recent times, when a major mining giant in Australia had bombarded the land of the traditional owners or the Aboriginal people in Australia. I love this project because my job was to help design the process that the mining giant as a company would undertake in order to contain the crisis first and to build their reputation once the crisis has been contained. Because the damage has been done. Now, you can't say that, you can't say that, I mean, there is no escape from it. Once the damage has been done, it has to be accepted, and the design that comes into handling that crisis is very case specific, right? So I was exposed to how a real life situation would, exposed to a real life situation to experience how it would like to be if I stepped into the shoes of the director of communications for that particular mining bank. What would I do? And that was a very hands-on experience, and such is the likelihood of projects that we receive at Monash, so that your academic learning can be showcased through practical case scenarios. Would that answer the question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Good evening, sir. I'm Adila Feroz of 5th semester B English. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank God. I had faced some range issues in the beginning. My sincere apologies for that.
That's
because
completely fine.
I have even wondered that had it been an offline session, it would have been great that we could avoid all these technical issues. But at the same time, I'm thanking God for having this as an online session, because we could hear such a wonderful presentation by you, sir. So thank you so much. And definitely I should split the question into a two-parter. And the first question is whether you face range issues back in Australia.
I mean, range issues, not really, because we've got 5G here. However, there of course are various technical issues when you step into the new term called e-meeting people. So there always needs to be space to cover that. But I think we are pretty sorted for this meeting.
Okay, thank you, sir. And the second question is, how did the academic community handle the COVID lockdown situation, as we know that we are going through tough times now? And what were the activities and academic management that you had back then?
To be honest with you, my friend, nobody foresaw a global pandemic like COVID-19 hitting the waves around Australia. The academic faculty was not prepared with a contingency plan to immediately implement in order to ensure that the quality of education and access to the university is ensured at all times. Experiencing lockdown for the first time was a defining experience in itself. For 8 months, we were in lockdown. Which means that you cannot exit your home except for 3 reasons. One is to buy groceries or work or university. And third is for essential services or caregiving. So for 8 months, we were forced to stay in our houses. We had online classes. We could just get out for exercise or interacting with people. Being an extrovert and gaining my energy from the people around me, it was really tough. Initially, though it was tough trying to adjust with the sudden online transition, we caught up soon because the faculty really tried to university. It was ensured that if a need arises, the university stands with you. The university even gave out relief funds for people who didn't have a job at that point of time and struggling to make ends meet because they cannot go back home. They have to stay here. They couldn't find a job, and they were assisted by the university. Even that actually reminds me. I work part-time for Domino's as a crew member when I'm not at university. So there was this instance during COVID-19 when there was an opportunity in my one of the clubs at my university was trying to provide food for the international students who are in Melbourne and around the university area. I was working for a Domino's store that is near my university. So when my friends at the particular club got in touch with me that this is what we're trying to do, I found an opportunity there. Because as a Domino's crew member, I have access to the regional manager. So which means that I can put across the idea for free marketing for Domino's at zero cost, but doing a social service back to the community, which would help build a reputation for Domino's, as well as help out the students who get the pizza. Once I put the idea across, it was welcomed with open arms. The regional manager, he approved 70 pizzas that the people from the club could come and collect from us and distribute to the students individually. What the main strategy that we used is that on top of the pizza boxes, we ensured that we placed a small note that we said, we just wrote a small message. Stay strong, Domino's, or just a small message, just a personalized message with the name of the customer. That ensured that the customer took a photograph of it, shared it on social media, propagated the name of Domino's, and also acknowledged the fact that Domino's is actually trying to make a difference. So that was one of the strategies that I could, that also went on to my CV at a later point of time. But I was really happy that I could really use that particular opportunity to help my fellow students out in the university. When the classes got transferred to Zoom, these sessions enable students who are in Melbourne or in their home countries to access the faculty and their class at the touch of a button. Honestly, I am not a big fan of online classes, as the warmth of meeting your classmates in person, shaking hands, talking, laughing without everyone else hearing our conversation is phenomenally better than online interaction. The format of the classes were pretty much the same, but the timings became a lot more flexible. And the faculty also loosened their hand on the deadlines because there were a lot of technical issues and confusion with regard to how to take the academic progress ahead. Some people, their laptop crashed. Some people couldn't find internet connection at the time of classes, and a lot of issues like that. So they really loosened hands on the deadlines, which was great, I would say, but not for procrastinators because no matter how long your deadline is extended, if you are a procrastinator, you would still do it on the last day. So that was how the academic fraternity responded to COVID-19. And I'm pretty sure that by now they have a complete plan to address if there is another wave of COVID that would ensure that might bring in another lockdown tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that Monash University has their plan in place to ensure that the online transition takes place in a smooth manner, and the new students are not made to feel isolated. They need to know that the university is with you and would support you at all points of time. Would that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, sir. And we all sincerely expect to get our days back in college and also to have prefer face-to-face interaction. And so obviously, sir, we all would like to maybe in the future meet you in person and have an offline session. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
I really look forward to it. Thank you so much for today.
Good evening, sir. I'm Father Anil again. And my question is, communication management plays strategic roles within any organization. So how did you connect your natural talents, instincts, and skills into the qualities of it? What are the academic practices and skills you gain from Monash University for strategic communication management? And is it different from Indian classrooms and courses on language and communication?
Thank you so much, Father Anil, for the question. When you're a leading communication management professional, you are expected to undertake the following responsibilities. You would need to understand and analyze the possibilities, challenges, and impact of the strategic communication initiatives that your firm would be undertaking under your supervision. You would need to have a critical understanding of the secondary literature in the field of communication and public relations, and be well versed with the cultural, societal, and economic impact that your communication strategies can have on all stakeholders as well as shareholders. It's understood that applied advanced reading skills and communication and analytical skills, both written as well as verbal, is super essential in order to express your proposals, if you're undertaking research or if you're working on a particular case scenario, you would need to know the literature that happened earlier in order to not repeat the same mistakes and to tweak the successful instances to the need of the hour so that the contemporary day issue can be handled in the most appropriate manner possible. We're also expected to apply a variety of research methodologies to solve real-world problems of communication management and develop effective solutions within an ethical framework. It was also highly important to enter the professional practice equipped with the industry-relevant specialist skills that demonstrate intercultural as well as the global competence in a world of constant technological and social change. Therefore, to inculcate the qualities and the skill sets that I need to undertake the above responsibilities, I developed certain skill sets that I am grateful to have possessed at this point of time. I ensure that I have a good knowledge of web and print-based marketing material in terms of written as well as verbal as well as video production, and excellent written and verbal communication had to be ensured in all the platforms that I would be supervising. The ability to work on multiple projects at one time is another essential aspect that you would have we would have to develop as communication professionals, because there are multiple projects that we would be handling at one point of time, and how to delegate it, how to identify the right subordinates to delegate the work to, and to design it and to work in a team. You need to be great at multitasking. The ability to work under pressure and deadlines was crucial in order to ensure that we achieve the goals prescribed for the particular strategy within the deadlines that we have set for the company, because we are answerable for if we are not able to achieve it. Attention to detail and accuracy was crucial to in order to be sure that when we are trying to shape the opinions of the people, we are not providing inaccurate information. We are not trying to sell them something with false promises. We deliver what we promise, and we communicate the exact what the person or the customer wants to hear. And these were the skill sets that helped me to undertake the responsibilities that I had mentioned at the beginning of this question. Would that answer your question, Father?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'm Anuja Sundaran from First MA English. My question is, we used to face-to-face communication, then slowly moved towards telephones. Now we live in the era of social medias and digital platforms. In what perspective should we see these changes, and how should students prepare themselves for changing roles?
Thank you so much. Of the education provider is influenced by destination, institutional reputation, safety, costs, and immigration factors, work availability, and finances, a lot of other factors. But now, students will now be more influential by because of the complete change in the market practices that COVID-19 has brought about. Students will now be able to influence by what institution can say. I mean, when an institution is marketing themselves to you, now the student also wants to listen to what the online offering of the university is going to be. Because in the case of me, when I shifted from Delhi to Australia to study, I was not planning for streaming my classes online when I am in Melbourne, and one full semester had to be done that way. And I was honestly not very happy about it, because I was not able to access my university building for a semester, and we couldn't have in-person classes, couldn't meet my classmates, couldn't network with my peers. I couldn't have a personal connection with my faculty in order to gain in-person insight into my field of specialty. Therefore, the universities are ensuring that you have access to all of these factors, and they will pitch it to you, and in order to convince you to take admission in their particular university. So now, since the students are now in a stronger position to choose how they wish to be educated, higher education institutions are going to have to pay more attention to student preferences. The era of the student consumer has arrived, and the institutions have to become far more responsive to what they want. We cannot take student preferences for granted, and we need to invest in understanding them. When it comes to the delivery of education, it's no longer just about us as students, it's also about the university. So I am sure that universities are going to bring up new strategies to ensure that the quality of education does not go down, it only goes up if it does.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good evening, sir. Once again, I'm Agnes. The question is, what are the linguistic and communication skills of great importance for the job market?
Thank you for the question, Agnes. So the simplicity of my answer to this question might surprise you. However, the basic skills that we need in the field of communication are of two types, verbal and non-verbal. I'm pretty sure we are already aware about these four factors that I'm going to talk about. One is listening skills, second is speaking skills, reading skills, and writing skills with utmost quality. If you master these four skill sets, you are ready for the field of linguistic skills or communication strategy. Because listening is a passive skill, but the better you are at focusing on what you hear, the easier it would get to learn a new language, understand a foreign accent, and gauge the flow of every conversation in order to lead it to a mutual conclusion. Speaking is a productive skill. Being an effective public speaker would reward you in all walks of life, whether it's a casual conversation, a negotiation, an interview, or even a discussion like we are having today. It's highly beneficial if you can express yourself verbally. One instance that comes to my mind right now is that when I was back home, when I was in, let's say, I think grade 11, my mother used to send me to buy vegetables from the vegetable vendor. And when I went to the vegetable vendor, I just said that I need this quantity of vegetables. He gave me the vegetables. I asked him what the price is, and I handed him over whatever he asked for. I went home and very happy that I completed my mission, and I don't think anything went wrong. I go home and my mother tells me, how much have you paid for this particular vegetable? I say that it's this amount of money. That's what he asked for. My mom was like, that is not how much you pay for a vegetable. You need to negotiate. Without negotiating, you will never get a better price or be offered a better deal for the same value. That taught me the skill to listen to the instructions, understand the market, how the market works, and then express myself. The next time I went to the vegetable vendor, I ensured that I negotiated with him, comparing his prices to the other vendors in the market, and how he sort of tricked me into paying more than what I should be paying for. So speaking skills are always beneficial, no matter which walk of life are you talking about. Reading is your ability to comprehend visual information, which is essential in your career to familiarize yourself with the literature in your field to ensure maximum understanding of your professional field and the role that you play for a particular organization. Writing, last but not the least, is another super productive skill for the workplace. The body of an email that you send to a prospective employer decides whether he or she would want to open your resume or not. Though I'm not an expert in the field of linguistics, I have come across quite a few professions that you may want to certainly look into. These courses are available at various universities where you can gain a competitive edge in language teaching, language assessment, and language program evaluation. Of course, you must have heard about teaching English to speakers of other languages, or TESOL. There is language testing qualifications as well as propagating English as a language. I hope I've answered all the questions. Is that so, Agnes?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, once again, I am Anuja. my question is, what are the new courses and opportunities in your university focused on language and communication? And what would be the golden miles that you would impart to us? And are there any psychometric testing and career service that you would recommend it for us?
Sure. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful question, my friend. Monash has a faculty dedicated to the School of Languages, Literatures, Cultures, and Linguistics that prepare students for a multilingual and intercultural future with curricula as well as co-curricular programs. You can study various languages and cultures like Chinese studies, European languages, French studies, global Asian linguistics, etc. One interesting course was a master's degree in linguistics and applied linguistics, literary studies and creative writing, Spanish and Latin American studies, translation, and interpreting services. Of course, there is the field of tourism, which can certainly boost your career plans in the field of linguistics. Then there is research and engagement that can be undertaken by you to find real world problems that can solve the issues that are faced in the field of linguistics and communications. Monash also has intercultural lab coursework programs, which has mostly co-curricular programs and professional development intended to ensure an engaging research coursework, which can help you focus more on areas that you would want to explore in the field of linguistics. Since I had my psychometric testing done about 6 years ago during my grade 11 and university, like I mentioned earlier, my father is deeply engaged with a couple of leading organizations in this field, and therefore I will surely request him to share the detailed information with Reverend Dr. Father Palati.
Okay, I hope we are just finishing with our questions.
Yes, Father. Thank you all for contributing your questions. It was indeed a fantabulous session. And thank you, Nitin sir, for answering all the questions satisfactorily and in an awesome way. And hope you really enjoyed the session. And now, as we come to the end of this webinar, I would like to invite Jones Shaju to extend the token of gratitude. Jones, please.
Organizer of the Career Talk series, Reverend Father Dr. Benny Palati, resource person of the day, Mr. Nidin Chose, teachers and my dear friends. A very good evening to everyone. I take this opportunity to thank everyone who made the 34th episode of Career Talk series a grand success. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of this Career Talk, Reverend Father Dr. Benny Palati, for organizing such an informative and useful session for us. You have spent your whole life for the upliftment of the students and the education sector. Thank you, Father. Next, I would like to thank the resource person of the day, Mr. Nidin Chose, for such an excellent career talk. As we are language students, the session really paved the path to the strategic communication management. And thank you, sir, for spending your valuable time with us. The session clearly and precisely made us all aware of the strategic communication management. Thank you, sir.
It was my pleasure speaking with all of you today, and I would specifically want to express my gratitude to Father Dr. Benny Palati, who today. And I really hope that my session was able to inspire all my fellow friends out there who intend to achieve an international education and identify their potential and unleash the same with precisely charted career path.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our principal, Reverend Father Dr. Paulachin KJ, all other respected fathers, management, and all the faculty members for their wholehearted support. I also take this opportunity to thank our head of the department, Ms. Grace K. Benny, for all the guidance. Also, I thank Ms. Lega Villi, class in charge of MA English, and Ms. Purnima S. Kumar, class in charge of BA English, for the directions and guidance. I also thank all my dear friends who made this talk series an interactive and vibrant session. Once again, I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. With this, I remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Jones. Now we have come to the end of the webinar. We express sincere and humble gratitude to each and every one of you who were here, and you were indeed a part and parcel of this session. And best wishes to our distinguished guest, the resource person of the day, Mr. Nitin, sir, for your future ventures ahead. And obviously, we all would expect to have sessions like these in the future too. And thank you so much, sir. And thank you, organizer. And thank you to all the faculty members and the participants. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. So thanks to everyone. And we had a little technical issues in between. Still, everything went on well. And surely, especially for the Naipunya language students, it was a new opening for them, because usually our classrooms, especially literature classrooms, are more prone to look into the so-called literary skills. But here, Nitin has opened new ways, so-called international standards and openings to have the so-called the same basic skills, literature skills, but how can they be connected to the business, to the world of market? And so these students can be prepared for the so-called international avenue. So it was a great thing, and surely Nitin has started so-called personal public speaking skill. I mean, that is the very basic identification of those kinds of basic skills, talents, and skills should connect oneself with an professional area. Surely, as all the participants are of so-called higher education level, they might have done this already. But if not, surely we have to just identify our strengths, weakness, even in this field, so that we can connect better, prepare ourselves faster, and be great in the field. Thanks a lot, Nitin, and everyone, IBA community also. So thanks, and anyway, Nitin, out of this busy schedule and also very particular time, you were happy to join us and to share. It was very rich because various areas, and you systematically prepared your answers too. So it was not just speaking something, but very systematic, prepared deliberations. So thanks a lot, and to every participant. So bye. Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you.